Hey everyone, what's up? This is Justin,
I'm Cortland.
and this is episode 7. Better Off Reds. We're 1 month into the season, which is awesome. This is your weekly Reds talk show. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. What else are we on, Cortland? All of your podcasting apps.
Yes, all of the podcasting apps.
All of them. And if we're not on one, you tell us, and we'll find out why. Live shows, as you know, because you're here right now. If you are here, you might be listening tomorrow morning on your way to work. But live shows are Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live and YouTube. Recordings are made available shortly after, and audio versions go up on our podcasting apps later on in the night. Been a big week. Oh, hey, whoa!
Sorry.
Look at that mug.
Sorry.
Let's see that mug again.
Right here.
Huh?
Right here.
No, not that mug. The good-looking mug.
The good-looking mug?
Yeah. There it is.
There we go.
There it is. Some merch. I didn't wear mine. I wore my shirt last week, but I'm glad. Did the winner
do laundry? The winner did get their shirt. They're very happy. Yes.
Good. Yay. Thunderous applause for the winner. What have you been up to?
Oh, nothing. Getting into the final days of the school year as I am a teacher. So just preparing for the last couple of weeks. Everybody's excited. All the kids are pumped, and a lot of them have been talking about the Reds. I have one particular one that talks to me about them all the time, and he's very 50-50 on them. But I think this week they made him a little happier, just like they made me happier. So
they won 5 out of the last 8.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was a good series. A lot better, I think, than I thought it would be. I think my predictions were more, but I always overshoot my predictions. So, how about you?
Well, real quick, I think this is the first time that the Twitter poll was right. I think the Twitter people said 2 out of 3, and I also said 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. And then they said, I think the number one vote was splitting with the White Sox. I'll have to double check, but that's what I said, and that's what happened. So, it's another big week for the Reds too. You want to know why?
Why?
Minor League Baseball started back yesterday.
It did. Yes, it did.
And we have some information on some of the top prospects in the organization. We'll get to that in a few moments. But first, let's talk about the Reds and Cubs, because we hate the Cubs. The Cubs hate us, and I hate seeing blue in the stands at Great American Ballpark.
There was a lot
of blue. It's the Reds wear red, as the name says, not blue. Let's talk about that. So they took 2 out of 3, right?
Yep.
Something big happened in game 1. Besides them winning 8-6, Vado got his 300th home run. He's the, I believe, 3rd Red to do so. Good game. It was a good game. Miley pitched 5 innings of good baseball, allowing only 2 runs. Suarez and Senzel both hit homers. It was Senzel's first of the year, and Suarez's first during this awful slump he's been in. But looks like he might be shaking that rust off. The bullpen kind of sucked. De Leon and Fulmer both gave up 2 runs apiece. De Leon has since been optioned to Louisville, I believe. But Sims and Antone, they were stellar. Do you want to talk about game 2?
Yes. So Castillo was okay. He hasn't. I mean, he's had some comeback games, but he pitched for 5 1/3, 3 runs, which is better than he's been doing. That's lower than what his ERA has been, and 5 strikeouts. So not great, not bad, not terrible. No, I would say not bad, not terrible. But the bullpen didn't suck in this game too. So Garrett might be back. We were talking about this before we started. I don't know if I'm necessarily there yet, but he is trending upward. I mean, he's really shown it. But the problem is now he is suspended for 7 games for being a good pitcher in game 2. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave that there.
We'll dive into that a little bit more.
But as sure as everybody saw, there was a benches clearing. Nothing happened. Just benches cleared.
Not even a brawl. It's just a little
just scuffle. And that's what caused it. And in hindsight, right now, with all these suspensions and everything that's been plaguing the Reds, other stuff has happened. Like we talked about Bryce Harper last week. That stuff also, but like the Reds have been like the butt of the MLB joke. So don't know what in the world is up with all that. So whatever. It's just by this time, I think we're now used to it. So it's okay. We didn't win the game. It was 2-3. So still a very good game, but we didn't win it. But yeah. So what about game 3?
Game 3, the Reds, they win this one, and it's a complete offensive onslaught. They on both teams. Both teams just went insane. The bats were on fire.
Yeah.
13-12 Reds in extra innings. Malley has his first bad start of the year. He went 5 innings, gave up 6 runs. The bullpen gave up 6 more. Hembry, Garrett, Hendricks, and Doolittle all came in. They gave up 0 runs, but Antone and Sims, they gave up 6 combined, which Antone and Sims are like the guys you put the ball in their hand when you want to lock it down.
Yeah.
So an off day for them. I'm not worried about them yet. No, I'm not worried about them. I shouldn't even say yet. I'm not worried about them. But man, the balls are flying in this game. 10 home runs, 5 from each team. Moose, Suarez, Barnhart, and they each had 1. And Castellanos, he had 2. So the Reds win this series 2-1, and it feels good to beat the snot out of the Cubs. I'm sure it feels good for them too, the people that are actually playing the game, but it felt good at home watching it.
I was happy because we kind of questioned the Cubs going into this and kind of for the whole season because they've kind of just been not good.
Well, wait till you hear what they've done since they left Cincinnati. We'll talk about that later on too. Holy smokes.
But in terms of us, I was happy that it was good games because, I mean, the Cubs still have good players. Like, they still have hot bats. Like, there's no doubt about it that they have players that can absolutely crush it. And they did in game 3. So to have every game be pretty close and game 3 to be what it was, just 5 home runs from both teams, and us to be able to pull out the win. I always love it when we can get the hard fought victories, and especially against somebody in the division. So yeah, I'm happy that Chicago kind of came alive and didn't roll over for us. It made it exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was a good series. I mean, it was fun to watch. Even game 2, I mean, they were in it the whole time. It was a good series. And the first battle of Chicago is won.
Yep,
they won it. Then they took on a second battle of Chicago, just the White Sox this time. The White Sox are good. The White Sox have a very good offense. I know that John Sadak and Barry Larkin kept putting the graphic up how they're first in everything except home runs, or like in the top of everything.
And we're first. We were the other ones. That's like, it was battle of the bats coming into this.
Yeah. They have a 16-13 record. That's after they played the Reds with a plus 36 run differential. Holy smokes. It's a lot of runs. The Reds are now at an even run differential, by the way. Yeah. Remember when we were like plus 27? Now we're at an even 152 across
in a matter of 5 games.
Yeah, I do think we have the most runs scored in baseball. No, just kidding.
Or Boston,
Boston has the most.
Did they just get it?
I don't know, maybe the Dodgers have a few more too. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about game 1. So game 1 was bad.
Yes.
One of those games where nothing worked. The bats didn't work. Pitching didn't work. They lost to Dylan Cease, who's had a rough start to the year. I should know. I had him on my fantasy team. I cut him. As soon as I cut him, he throws 2 amazing games, including an almost no-hitter against the Reds. I think he went into like the 7th inning with a no-no.
Yeah.
Hoffman went 2 1/3, gave up 4 runs. De Leon gave up another 3 runs. Romano and Fulmer each gave up a run. And Blandino is the best bullpen arm that we don't actually have because he's a utility man. I got to be honest, I enjoy watching Blandino pitch, and I enjoyed Barnhart's interview after the game where he was just like, he said that the batter for Chicago was like, oh, he's really going to throw pitches at me. And Barnhart was like, yeah, he's going to throw pitches. And they kept shaking off Barnhart. Did you see that? Like, you have this veteran catcher behind the plate, and he's telling him to like throw a pitch here, and Blandino's like, nah, I'm gonna throw the knuckleball.
I mean, I will say, like, he does do pretty good. Like, because normally you put those position players up there, they just throw like 60-mile-an-hour balls. Like,
he was hitting mid 80s,
yeah. Like, he legitimately gets up there and throws the ball. Like, and that's probably just as effective as being a guy that throws super off speed. Like he said. That guy's like, oh, he's like really pitching to me. Like, he probably took 2 of those pitches. And was like, what in the world is this?
It was almost like watching a kid. Like, right. I mean, no disrespect to Blandino because he pitched great. I mean, I think he was the only pitcher that didn't give up a run. Right. Hey, Clark is in the chat.
Clark,
Clark, how's it going? Clark went to a Reds game with his daughter for the first time against the Cubs, game 2. And from the photos that he shared, it looks like they had a really great time.
Got a ball. His daughter got a ball.
Yeah,
there's nothing better than that.
Tossed him a ball. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
Gosh, what a cool story. What a good experience for them. But yeah, so the pitching aside from Blandino was pretty rough. Only 2 hits, both came from Tucker,
Yeah.
who's now hitting 313. Both catchers, I mentioned this on the Cubs recap episode. Both catchers are hitting over 300, and I love it. I can't think
Yeah.
of the last time our catchers have had this much offensive production.
Yeah.
You can throw either of them behind or either of them up there, and they're going to get a hit. It seems like it's really fun to watch almost everyone up and down the order get a hit. So
It's funny because, like, you're right. Like when Mesoraco was hot, like we had Barnhart, but Barnhart wasn't anything like he's hitting right now. So like it's always been a hot cold situation, and we have too hot. And I believe Stevenson's defense is getting better, as it will, because he's so young. So to see him grow in that area on top of batting, and then to have Barnhart just continuing to hit with his great defense, yeah, it's just a blast to watch. It's been so much fun to see those guys just absolutely crush it.
Poor Mesoraco, man. I loved watching him play,
Yeah, I
and
did
he
too.
just could not stay healthy. I mean, I
No.
really felt like because he had those hip injuries, I really
Yeah.
thought they should have shifted him to like left field or something, or I don't know what you do with him, but I mean, he wore himself into the ground, and it was just awful because the dude could hit.
Yeah.
You want to take it game 2?
Yes. So game 2, the Weds,
The Reds win.
the Reds win in extra innings. It's 1-0. So the bats obviously were still not very hot because they only won 1-0. But Sonny Gray comes in and he lights it up. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and 8 strikeouts. After that game, it lowered his ERA to 3.92. So that is great. He's working his way down there. Antone comes back in, like you said. We're not worried about him. He comes in this game. He pitches 2 scoreless innings, and Sims comes in to win the game. And he was very pumped. I love watching Sims pitch because Sims gets super pumped up. What we got here?
Yeah, Clark says, I hate to say it because I love Barnhart, but Stevenson is the future. Yeah. I think it's also Barnhart's contract year. I could see, honestly, it pains me to say, I could see Barnhart in a different jersey next year.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about that right now. I just want to enjoy the time we have.
It sucks, but it's also kind of best case scenario because if Stevenson can pick up what he needs to pick up and Barnhart is playing the way that he's playing, we could get somebody pretty decent out of a Barnhart trade. Or not.
Don't trade him. No, I don't want to trade him.
I mean,
I mean, if the team bottoms out, which I don't think they're going to.
No,
I think they're going to be in this fight
but
in September. But I think if they were to bottom out, he would be a trade candidate. But what's up? Sounds like you were talking about a dead pet. I might be. I don't know. I really like Barnhart a lot. I met Barnhart one time when he did the Reds Caravan, and it was before I think anyone knew he was going to turn into anything. He's really nice guy, but I really like Barnhart, and I hope that he just somehow could just split time with Stevenson forever. I don't really know how that's going to work. I know it's not going to work that way, and he's probably going to get paid after this year he's having. Right. I know it's short, but he's having a heck of a year. Yeah. But what were you saying about, you mentioned Antone?
Yeah, so Antone comes in this game 2 and pitches 2 scoreless innings, and Sims wins. And Sims was lighting it up. He loves it. I love watching him close. Like I said, he just is on fire when he's pitching great. It's just so fun to watch him. So the game goes into the 10th, tied 0-0. So we have Barnhart on second, our at bat. Then we have Senzel singles, and that moves Barnhart to third. And then big old Jesse Winker, future MVP, steps up and hits a shot to center field to send Barnhart home. Great game. Love it. Winker, again, just so much fun to watch. But on a less happy note, Vado had to leave the game after being hit by a pitch. We'll talk about that later. So, but yeah, we weren't happy to see that. But we did get to see old Billy Hamilton back in the stadium. And he got, I believe, a standing ovation. The crowd was very happy to see him, and as well as the other Reds players, they were clapping along, I think. And
it was really good to see him, and I really like Billy Hamilton. He's a frustrating player to have on your team, but I feel like he's a good presence. Just seems like a really happy and really nice guy. It was good to see him back there. I'm glad that he's playing in the big leagues. Okay.
Yeah,
so Drew says, I'm back. Sorry I missed out on the beginning of the show. Have I missed the celebration yet? Garrett. Actually, Drew, you're right on time because we're talking about Amir Garrett right now. So Amir Garrett, MLB has suspended him for 7 games, and he is appealing. I think it's ridiculous, just like I thought the Castellanos suspension was ridiculous. People have actually gotten into actual fights this year. Brawls have broken out, actual brawls, not just shouting at each other. And he's being suspended for less or right at the 7 or 8 games that those people are getting for their brawls. Him being pumped up and trash talking, it's not worthy of any suspension. But if you're going to at least do it, at least follow precedent, which would be 2 games.
Right.
Because there was another instance, not Castellanos. I forgot who it was. I think it was a Mets and a Phillies player. The Phillies player, I think, got suspended for 2 games for they're barking at each other. But it's just crazy that and I'm assuming Garrett's history has come into play.
Right.
You know, I mean, they probably, when they said, "Oh, Amir Garrett, that's the guy that took on the entire Pirates dugout." Yeah, we probably should give that guy 7 games. But yeah, I agree, Clark. Manfred is a clown. He needs to retire. I think it's Drew says I think it's ridiculous too, but he can't. Excuse me, he can't blow his save if he's not allowed to play. He's been pretty good. I mean, it's only 2.1 innings. I have the notes down here somewhere. Well, maybe I don't have them. I thought I did. He's been pitching much better. He had like in 2.1 innings, he has like 3 strikeouts and no hits, no runs, and like 1 walk. So he's definitely trending up. And I hate that he's losing this playing time. Well, I guess he hasn't lost it yet because he's fighting it. But I just hate that this came at a time when he started turning it around. But retire from ruining baseball. He would never do that, would he? But what really irritates me is just how the MLB has handled the Reds specifically this year, because they gave him a 7-game suspension, which is already too many games. And then Javier Baez, who is the clown who jumped over the dugout, basically said, "Come fight me, bro." He got nothing. He got a fine.
Then he did it after. He did it at the press conference too. Like he was, I mean, I know, like, yeah, he was fired up and stuff, but like in the press conference, like he like didn't care. He's like, "You want to fight me? Come fight me." He's like, "Meet me 1-on-1 outside the stadium." He's like, "We'll fight. Like, we'll settle this 1-on-1." Like nothing happened. Like he continued to do it after the game was over, and nothing, which is, I don't know. Yeah.
It's frustrating. The fact that he was fined but not suspended just blows my mind. Like, why is he not getting a suspension? Like, right. I mean, to be fair, I don't think Garrett should get a suspension. And by that, stance, I don't think Baez should get a suspension. However, I think if Garrett is going to be suspended, then you definitely have to suspend Baez. So,
because if we're talking about safety protocol in terms of clearing the benches, a dude literally jumped out of the dugout. Nothing was happening when Garrett was pumped up. So the batter didn't come at Garrett and cause the dugouts to run out.
So Drew says it's Ohio against the world once again. It definitely feels that way, the way these suspensions being handled out. Elijah says, "Have I missed the part of the talk about how the MLB hates the Reds?" Oh, right. Perfect timing.
Yep.
Clark says, "We have to accept the fact that there's one set of rules for the Reds and a set for everyone else." And Drew agrees with Elijah. So the chat is hopping tonight. It's a good discussion. Yeah, I think the Amir Garrett suspension is crap. And I think it's even more crap that Baez just got a slap on the wrist when he was, I mean, I'm not going to say he was the instigator, but he was definitely the retaliator.
Well, he was the one that cleared him. I mean, because the batter didn't come or anything. It was Garrett being pumped up pitching. Like,
he did bark at Rizzo directly, but like, I mean,
but come on.
I mean, Bauer does this stuff all the time. They show Bauer doing something. I mean, pitchers do that. They get pumped up. They freaking shoot off flames at Great American Ballpark when they strike out, but the player's not allowed to. Only the machine can express emotion, but not the person. It's just crazy. Elijah wants to know favorite surprise this season. Probably how opposite the bats are working compared to last year for me. What about you, Cortland?
That's tough. I'm gonna say,
would it be NL Cy Young candidate Wade Miley?
I was gonna say pitching, but I was gonna say our closers. Not Garrett so much at the moment, but TJ and Sims and all them. That's probably my biggest surprise. I didn't think these guys were going to come in as hot as they were.
Clark says, "Heaven forbid we have emotion in games." Starting pitching is clutch. That's what Drew said was his surprise. It has been. I mean, even like Jeff Hoffman, we started to see the wheels come off a little bit, but he started real strong. Drew also says to bite your tongue, Cortland.
About?
I don't know. That's a good question. What about Drew? Let us know in the comments, and we will have Cortland bite his tongue. I was like ready to pounce all over you and be like, "Yeah, Cortland, bite your tongue," and they're like, "Wait a minute, for what?" So Amir Garrett suspended. We hate it. I think you all hate it. I think everyone should hate it. But it is what it is. He'll appeal it, and based on the Castellanos suspension. The closers.
Oh, well, I said not Garrett, and that's who you're talking about. So
yeah,
get off my case.
So the next story, Cortland, I'll let you take this one, and it's a sad one. We should have played the sad music, but I didn't cue it up, so we're not going to.
But just imagine it playing in the background. So, Vado's injury. Vado was hit by the pitch in the 4th inning of Wednesday's game, and you could see from that the reaction that he had that it hurt quite well. He kept grabbing at his hand while he was standing on first. So he was pulled from the game. They did X-rays to show that he has a fracture. I believe it's his thumb, a fracture in his thumb. And David Bell says he will miss weeks. Hopefully, we can see him near the end of the Brewers series, but June's probably more likely where we're going to see him come back.
We had a couple more comments before you go into that next part. So Elijah wants to know, is this team capable of making a run at the World Series? I think they're definitely a playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can compete. Maybe. I don't know.
You got to think of how streaky, if it can happen like it's been in terms of the bats, if the bats could get them through to the series and then do what they do just randomly and just absolutely go off, but have 5 home runs, and Castellanos have 2 in a game, and Barnhart and Stevenson both keep hitting 300. I mean, it'd be a stretch, but I think if the timing came out right, I think they could do it.
I think they have everything. Like, they have a functional lineup, they have a functional rotation, they have a functional bullpen. The problem is all 3 of them don't really work in unison. I don't know why, but they just don't. Real quick though, that kind of brings me to my point though. The Dodgers, week 1 and 2, we're like, oh, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They're 2-8 in their last 10.
Yeah.
So baseball is weird. I mean, we started with a 6-game winning streak, and then we slid. I mean, we could pop off on like a 15-game winning streak in July when the trade deadline is about to happen.
We're 5-8 out of the last 8, and we went 6 or 5-1,
5-3 out of the last 8. We're 5-5 out of our last 10, though.
Yeah, and then we were 6-1, and then we lost 7. So I mean, it's very back and forth.
We're getting a lot of comments here tonight. So Clark says Winker is a beast. Drew says we got to get middle relief pitching. That's to Elijah, and I agree. Our bullpen has been inconsistent. Clark says I agree. I think the playoffs are a ceiling for this team. Yeah, I mean, things can happen. Maybe
I'd be happy. I'd be happy with playoffs.
They could call somebody up that just excels, or they could make a trade that changes the dynamic. I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Rumor is that Trevor Story will be traded out of Colorado. The Reds have been linked to him for a couple of years now, just because they needed a shortstop. I mean, if they got like someone like Trevor Story, I mean, that's
big time.
A huge deal. Yeah. Elijah says playoff team for sure. The thing I love about baseball, it's all about who's hot at that moment. I know I love baseball.
That makes me think when the Cubs won, when the Cubs finally did it, like Cleveland was so hot, like they were lighting it up, and you go into that series and they just kind of went a little cold, and the Cubs turned it on. I mean, at first it kind of looked like there wasn't going to be a competition, and it's exactly what happened. They just flipped the switch at the right time when it mattered, and they got their first World Series in like 110 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's a long time. Drew says the ceiling is the roof. Well, there is no roof at Great American Ballpark, so
the roof is on fire at
the moon. Elijah says Hunter Green, which we're going to talk about Hunter Green in just a moment. Man, I'm excited to see him pitch. And then he said, "Oh, you just ruined what was in my notes, Elijah. Why did I click on that?" Elijah says, "Did you see where he started the other day and had 37 pitches that were over 100?" Yes, that's amazing. Clark says, "I feel like we're too inconsistent." I agree. I think it's all got to come together at the same time consistently. It did that for a little bit at the beginning, and then it kind of stopped doing that. It's got to do that for like 10 game stretches at a time. Okay. Ceiling is the roof. Michael Jordan's quote. Oh, my bad. Okay. That's good. There still isn't a roof on Great American Ballpark though. So, all right. Back to Joey Votto. So what are they going to do about this?
Well, they'll probably put in Farmer because he was in for a little bit.
Blandino.
I would like Blandino probably better. But that's my thing.
You mean
Farmer.
the Shohei Ohtani of the Reds?
Yeah. I like
love watching
that.
him pitch. I do.
I like that better. I mean, now Farmer's been okay, but Blandino's been doing stuff that people don't normally do. So I kind of rather have him in just for the confidence boost, because he's doing stuff they're asking him to do. So that's my person for first. What about you?
So there's been a couple different scenarios that have been thrown around. One's Blandino, Farmer, platoon. Another is because Akiyama's about to come back probably tomorrow. I think he set out actually tonight for the Louisville Bats. It would be to move Moose to first, India to third, which is his native position, Senzel to second, and then let Akiyama and Naquin platoon center field. The problem is they're both left-handed batters, so you can't really platoon them too much unless their splits are different. I'm not really sure, but typically left-handed batters, you split it with a right-handed batter.
Right.
So maybe they could figure something out. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's when you put Senzel in center and maybe put Farmer. I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do.
I like Moose to first. What?
I know what they could do. A guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer was just cut today. And he's looking to hit 700 homers before he retires. And that would be one Albert Pujols. Now, I don't think Albert Pujols is good. I definitely don't think he's good. And I don't mean this seriously at all. But it would be so sweet to watch the former Cardinal great suit up for the Reds, would it not?
Yeah.
How would that make them feel to know that he played a year or maybe for a month with the Reds?
Finished with the Reds.
He wouldn't finish. He'll go back to St. Louis for a year or a day. Elijah says, I feel like the future for the Reds and Bengals. I like the future for the Reds and Bengals. Both teams making great pushes and moves. Cincinnati, it's almost our time. Clark says it'd boost ticket sales. I assume you're talking about Pujols. Yeah, it would. It definitely would, especially if he could kind of get a power surge at Great American Ballpark. His numbers at GABP are pretty great.
Yeah.
And he's close. I think he's like 33 home runs away from 700. That's definitely something he has his mind on. It's just will anybody give him a chance.
To speak to the Cincinnati thing, Eli, if they would have taken Penei Sewell in the draft for the Bengals, they probably would. The future would be bright, but they took another wide receiver. So that's my take.
Oh, Elijah says, I get back home next week and I'm going to buy some streaming gear. If you ever need an avid Reds fan for some backup input. Also, yes, the less signing Pujols ticket sales would boost. That's always good. Clark also says, Molina would have to kiss Albert's butt. Yeah. Maybe Molina will come to the Reds as Pujols is inducted to the Reds Hall of Fame.
Right.
All right. Enough of the Pujols talk. Yeah, they're not going to sign him. They've got options in house they're going to go with. It's funny to think about. The timing also it lines up with what happened. But so yeah, I don't know. What do you think they're going to do? Did you say what you thought they were going to do?
Yeah, I think Blandino. I think but again, if Akiyama does come back, which he will, that will kind of throw a wrench into the plans. We'll see what happens. But I think Blandino. What about the old minor leagues, Justin? Yeah,
minor league baseball started back yesterday. Some of these games are still going on right now, or they went on today. So some of these numbers might not be super accurate, but Reds' number one prospect, Nick Lodolo, went 5 innings with only 2 hits, no walks or runs, and 10 strikeouts. Number 6 prospect, Michael Ciani, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBI on Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday. My days are mixed up. He did go 1 for 5 on Wednesday. Maybe I'm not mixed up. I'm a little confused about what day it is. Today's Thursday. Elijah says, I hate Molina. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. I respect him as a player and everything he's done, but good God, leave us alone. I hate Molina too. I was listening to the Jim Day podcast today with Sam LeCure. If you haven't listened, there's 2 parts to it. Part 1 and part 2. Both are phenomenal. Sam LeCure is one of my favorite former Reds. They both talk high praise about Molina, and I was like, ugh, don't do that. But I guess maybe
is that the one you told me that was really good? You texted me.
They did 2 parts. They did a second part this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's top-notch content. If you don't listen to the Jim Day podcast, you should. Jim Day is such a delight, and then he always has good guests. Sean Casey's been on there. That was a good one. Joey Votto's been on there twice. Marty's been on there a dozen times. Kai Rizzle said, how are the Reds doing? What is their record? They're doing okay. 14-15. at the moment. Still a lot of room.
And they're right behind the Cubs. Yeah,
which
right
the Cubs, like I said, we'll get to around the division here in just a moment. Clark loves Jim Day, and I love Jim Day. Jim Day's, oh man, he's so awesome.
You're my best friend, Jim Day.
Jim Day. So Brandon Finnegan, you remember him? I think he came over in the Cueto trade. Could be totally wrong on that, but he could be seeing a resurgence. He did. He pitched 2 2/3 of 1 hit, no run baseball with 3 strikeouts. Number 3 prospect Austin Hendricks. So far, only 1 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. I don't know if he played today. Those are from the previous 2 days. Number 7 prospect Reese Hines, 2 for 9 overall with a home run and 2 RBI. Number 10 prospect Tony Santian went 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 unearned run, and 7 strikeouts.
Not bad.
Number 5 prospect Jose Garcia went 1 for 4 with a home run yesterday and 2 for 3 with another home run today. And I believe that game is still in progress, I think. So maybe he's added another one to his box score. And then Hunter Green, Elijah, had to spoil this, but it's fine. Number 2 prospect went 5 innings, a 5 hit, 1 run baseball with 8 strikeouts. And as Elijah mentioned in the comments, he threw 37 pitches that were over 100 miles per hour, which is more than any minor or major leaguer in the StatCast era, according to the Chattanooga Lookouts.
That's been 6 years. That's 6 years.
Yeah. Elijah says, have you all been to a game in person this year? I went. I was actually at the game where Castellanos flexed and bought the Cardinals from their owner.
Yeah.
And Cortland, you haven't been to one yet, right?
Not yet.
We're going to change that, though.
Working on it.
We're going to fix that. Elijah, you'll have to meet up with us. We'll have to go to one.
Yeah.
So that's the minor league update. I'm going to try to update everyone on minor leagues. I actually subscribed to MILB TV today. To kind of catch these games. It's going to be really nice on off days, and it's pretty affordable. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but it's like $40 for the year.
Which is a lot of baseball.
It is, and if you're a student or if you're military, you get a 35% discount.
Dang,
which is pretty generous. I mean, the price is already pretty cheap at $40 for the year, and then you get like a 35% discount on top if you're military or student. So check that out. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Clark says, let's get a group together.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That
sounds like
fun. Clark, he lives, I believe Clark lives a lot closer than we do. So I
think he's in Indianapolis, which is an amazing city.
Yeah. He'd have to meet us there.
What is you are a balding middle-aged single dad? What do you mean by that, Clark? Oh, is that like a Jeopardy question? I'm confused on that one. So Cortland.
Yes.
Around the division, tell us what's going on in the NL Central, because it's been weird.
To start it off, our worst fears have become a reality.
Clark's talking about for a discount.
Gotcha.
That's funny. No, unfortunately, they're not offering a discount for that.
That was good. The worst fears that we have had have come to reality. The Cardinals are on top of the division. They are sitting at 18 and 14 now. They're sitting at 18 and 14 now. They swept the Pirates and they split a 4-game series against the Mets. So they swept the Pirates, who have been playing very well. So I mean, that's a pretty good series for them to take. And then we have the Brewers, who sit at second place. They were currently on top with a 17 and 15 record at the moment. They won 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers, and they got swept by the Phillies. So little luck in our favor there towards the end of that one. Getting swept in the last series always helps. Then we have the Cubs, obviously. They're third, 15-16. They're right ahead of the Reds. They lost 2 of 3 to the Reds. That's what I'm talking about. And then they swept the Dodgers. And the question is, are the Dodgers bad now? What has happened? They've lost 8 out of their last 10. And what'd they do against us? Did we get swept by them?
I mean, it's the Dodgers. Were you not on the show last week, Cortland? We 2 out of 3. Remember? Took the first 2 and then lost game 3.
Who did we get swept by? The
Cardinals the week before that.
Yeah.
Or the series before that.
Sorry, that's what I was.
We went into that game on a 7-game losing, or that series on a 7-game losing streak.
So are they bad now? They get beat by the Cubs, who we beat 2-3, and we only beat them by 2. So
the Cubs have been very iffy this year too.
What is going on? Is the question.
Baseball's weird. Like I think it was Elijah said, it's about who's hot in the moment, and he also says the Dodgers are 100% not bad. I know they're not bad, but it is weird that they've lost 8 out of 10.
Yeah. But it was weird that the Reds lost 7 in a row after going 6-1. So baseball, again, that's our answer. So let's get to the last team, Pittsburgh. They are now last. They were kind of hovering in the middle there for a little bit, going on their little spurts. But they are 13-7. The Reds are ahead of them, obviously. They're 13-7. They got swept by the Cards, and they lost 2 of 3 to the Padres. So the Cardinals being on top, the Pirates just had a really rough week to play against the teams they played against. So oh,
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say that would be hard to not get swept by both of those teams.
Yeah. Only St. Louis has a winning record over their last 10 in the division. The Brewers and Pirates both have a losing record, and the Cubs and the Reds are both even over their last 10, 5-5. So it's a weird division. It is up for grabs, I think.
Yeah, it's still much up for grabs. I think even the Pirates at 13-17 have a great chance to do what they did again and come back. I mean, it's just so neck and neck right now.
The Pirates are not going to make the postseason, but you got to keep this in mind. They are hanging in there without their best player, Inca Brian Hayes. I think I've mentioned Brian Hayes on here like 5 times already. But,
he's good.
He's very good, yeah. But it's just crazy that they're able to put that together without him. But they do have a negative 29 run differential. They've only scored 106 runs on the year, so I am looking forward to the Reds visiting them on this upcoming road trip. Hopefully they can really beat the snot out of them. Injury updates, have a few here. Castellanos did leave Tuesday's game against the White Sox he sat out Wednesday's game with mid back tightness, but he should be going. The Reds resume play tomorrow. Shogo has been playing with the Bats, the Louisville Bats, but he is 1 for 9. He should join the Reds on this upcoming road trip. Lorenzen received a second PRP injection, and he is yet to throw, but he will go to Arizona for rehab. Nothing new on Aquino, and of course Vado, we talked about earlier, looking to be out for about a month. I honestly, with Vado, I could see him coming back early. I think he'll come back maybe. And now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm just kind of gauging, what I think I know about Vado, and that is, I think he'll probably come back maybe around 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I give it 3 weeks. The fracture's rough. And with his age. Yeah, let's check out these comments. I've been reading.
Clark says, I'll be honest, I'm petrified about the next 30 games in 31 days. I am concerned. I do think the bench for the Reds is pretty deep, though, to allow off days. And I think that I could be wrong, but I kind of think what I blame a lot of the inconsistencies on is how we've had so many off days. So I'm kind of excited to see them play so many games in such a short period of time or in such a stretch to hopefully maybe see everything kind of click. Because the off days can be real momentum killers.
And they're not bad teams. Like, this will be a real test. I mean, this will really show all the cards of what we can do, because they're going up against the Giants, who are they're doing hot ever since we played them. The Cards, and they got the Rockies, who they're not doing too great, but they're not bad. Brewers, Nats, Phillies, and Brewers again, and Rockies again. So there's going to be a lot to see. I am excited. It is nerve-wracking. I agree with Clark, but I kind of want to see what the team's made out of.
Yeah. And this will be a real not a make or break, but it'll be a real test to see what this team, like what you said, like what are they?
Will my expectations be higher for a World Series, or will I be very happy with just making the playoffs and against in the first games? So,
so now Elijah did have another question. He says, I've got a solid question. Out of the entire league, who is your favorite young prospect? There are a lot of big names I'm enjoying right now. Acuna, Tatis Jr., and one of my all-time favorite players' sons, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you mean just young player that's active in the game or like a minor league prospect. If I'm going with a minor league prospect, it'd probably be like Bobby Witt Jr. or Adley Rutschman. If you're talking outside of the Reds, if it's with the Reds, Hunter Green. What about you, Cortland? Do you know of any? Do you follow the minor leagues that much?
Not really. But I'm just going to say Jonathan India. Is there any question? That's my guy.
That's your guy.
He's my ride or die.
Clark says exactly contenders or pretenders. And
I like that.
I think we'll have a good idea on which one they are.
That might be a good episode title.
Honestly, at the end of this road trip, that might be
contenders or pretenders.
So now we're gonna do everyone's favorite segment.
The weekly awards.
Yeah, weekly awards.
Stole from me.
That's fine. Take it. Take it.
All right.
We stopped doing the apology videos because one, we have anything to apologize for.
We've been
and
kind
two,
of dead on. We're kind of getting good at this thing, if anybody hasn't noticed.
Yeah.
So we don't need to apologize for nothing.
Also, whenever we did apologize, they ended up sucking right after. So,
right. Yeah.
It might come back.
Now the bullpen turned it around when we were trashing them. I don't think we gave them an apology, but they turned it around because they were doing bad.
Yeah. Elijah says, I love how we have had tight games, though. We've had to battle out and tested us for the postseason. That's true.
Yeah.
This team, it's a unique team. And that's why I think I feel like optimism is still relatively high.
Yeah.
People haven't written them off yet, even though they've had some rough stretches there. So play of the week for me, I don't really have an entire play, but rather just an entire game, and that's the Sunday game against the Cubs. The Reds, the 5 home runs, the 13 runs to win it in extras. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. So much fun to watch. I mean, gosh, I wish I was at that game. I bet it was frustrating also to watch no team held the lead for like more than an inning.
Right.
Just kept going back and forth, and just it was a good, fun game to watch. What about you, Cortland?
My play of the week was Winker's clutch hit in the 1-0 win against the White Sox. He is earning himself a potential jersey spot in my closet with the play he's had this year. I've had one added in my cart for quite some time, and every week, man, he makes me want to pull the trigger. So
do it. What are you waiting for?
He's almost there. But
I really want to get. I don't have any old like Big Red Machine player jerseys. I'm going to start focusing on those next. I think
I got a bench one. I think I have a rose one that you could have.
Nice, thanks, buddy.
I think if I still got it, yeah.
You can give it to me when we go golfing on Saturday.
Yeah. If my wife is watching this, no.
We're getting a bunch of comments here. Elijah says, hard not to support a guy batting over 350. Talking about Winker. Tiffany says, yes, Wink makes me want to pull the trigger. Makes us all want to pull the trigger. If out of context, if you just start listening, she's talking about a jersey. Purchasing a jersey. She also says, love that guy. Drew says, in your cart, the same cart I've been asking where you are ordering from. Before I have to answer that one,
I have told him where I get my stuff.
Is it the same place I get mine?
Yes. And he knows coming from a guy that's technologically savvy, I would think he know how to push a buy now button.
Oh gosh, don't insult the guests. Oh, Tiffany had some emojis, some laughing emojis, and says, ha ha ha, Drew.
Yep.
So we've got some good. We've had a good crowd tonight. This has been fun. Good turnout.
All right. What about your hitter of the week, sir?
Nick Castellanos. Over the last week, he's batting .412 with 2 home runs, 6 runs scored, and 5 RBI while only striking out 3 times. And I don't know why that next line is in there. So ignore that, Cortland. I have no idea.
I saw that earlier today, and I was
know what that goes for. That goes for my pitcher.
Okay.
That's funny. I'll just fix that. All right, Cortland, what's your hitter of the week?
My hitter of the week is Winker, like we said. He's batting .359 right now, and over the last 7 games, he's had 6 RBIs and I believe 2 home runs, and he is just absolutely lighting it up. And not only is he lighting it up, he's hitting when he needs to hit. And there's nothing better in the sport of baseball when you have a guy that can go up there and get it done when you need to get it done. It's always so frustrating when you have somebody up to bat and it's a 50-50. Like, is he going to hit it? Is he not? With him, you have the confidence when he steps up to the plate that he's going to get you a run drove in, or he's at least going to get on base with 2 outs remaining. That way you can keep your hope alive. So, yeah, he's been my guy.
Drew says, wow, is this what we're resorting to? Name calling? Same team, man. Same team. Yeah, you were kind of mean to Drew.
Well, he started it, so I finished it.
My pitcher of the week is one Sonny Gray, who went 7 innings against the White Sox, allowing only 2 hits and no runs with 8 strikeouts. His ERA over his last 2 starts is 1.42. Man, the Reds are going to have a lot of Cy Young contenders this year, I think. And probably not really by the end of the year, but it feels good right now to say that.
At least right now we can say that.
Yeah.
It's not a super big stretch. My pitcher of the week is Mr. Lucas Sims. Coming from the same game as my batter of the week. He comes in and finishes the bottom of the, or excuse me, not the bottom of the 10th, the top of the 10th to shut them out and keep it 0-0. And then Wink comes in, hits the shot, and they score and win. I've liked Sims. I kind of didn't know. You've kind of said a couple times that like you want him to be kind of that guy. I like Antone so much. I've kind of been a little skeptical of Sims, but watching how much he puts into it when he comes up on the mound and he goes up there and throws some great pitches. He's just really fun to watch. So Lucas Sims is my pitcher of the week.
Awesome. It's a good pick. For biggest surprise this week, mine's definitely the Amir Garrett for more than one reason. One, his pitching performance has been great. Mentioned earlier, he's pitched 2 1/3 innings with no hits, only 1 walk, and no runs, with 3 strikeouts. And also his suspension. We talked about it earlier in the show. I think it's crap. I still think it's crap. Thought it was crap 45 minutes ago. I think it's crap now. I'll think it's crap tomorrow. Just not happy about it. Yeah. What's your biggest surprise?
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. It's got to be the suspension. It's kind of, I mean,
it wouldn't be as surprising if Baez was suspended too.
Right.
It's just the fact that they're like
in 7 games is insane to me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's just absolute, like, because I don't know, man. Like, there's something to say. Castellanos obviously shouldn't have got suspended, but Castellanos slid in the home and they hit each other and he got in his face. Like, okay, I still don't think that deserves a suspension. No. Amir Garrett's on the mound. He's 90 feet away. Yep. And he's just pumped up. And he literally does nothing. And I mean, yeah, he jaws at a guy from 90 feet away. Yeah. The guy does nothing. Another guy from the other team comes out of the dugout and starts yelling at him. Yeah. And he gets a fine. And Garrett gets a 7-game suspension for throwing good pitches. Like, it's just, we could talk about it all night. It's just because the Castellanos thing, people had their thoughts. This is just ridiculous. That just makes no sense. Like, there's literally just no reason for it to happen. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So those were our weekly awards. Let's look ahead. And I mentioned this at the top of the show, but I nailed my predictions last week. I got them 100% right. Did you get yours right?
I don't think I did. I think I said 3 against
the Cubs.
And I said 1 against the White Sox, but I wanted 2, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic.
You're very optimistic. So the Reds will start a 3-game series against the Indians in Cleveland. Luckily, they don't have to face Shane Bieber on this particular trip. Then they go to Pittsburgh for 3 games. I think they're going to take 2 out of 3 in Cleveland and sweep the Pirates. I think it's going to be a very good trip. The road trip will continue after that. They'll go to Colorado, which we actually have to let everyone know that next Thursday, the Reds will be playing while our show is on. So we understand if you're not watching us and interacting with us, but we'd still like for you to be here because it's a good time. I'll probably have the game on and give updates throughout the show as well. Real quick, Clark says if he was on the Red Sox or Yankees, Manfred would have his lips surgically attached to Garrett's butt. Yeah, maybe. Possibly, yeah. Even the Astros got off easier than this.
Yeah. They cheated in the World Series.
They did. What's your prediction for this upcoming 6 games?
I'm gonna say.
I can tell you're gonna say sweep.
I want to say sweep so bad just because Bieber's not playing, and that's the only reason they didn't sweep at home against them. Sweep. Bring out the
there
brooms.
It is.
Bring out the brooms. Sweep in Cleveland to take the Ohio Cup for the first time in a while. And they go over into old Pittsburgh and sweep the Pirates at home. So
there he is.
There he is, boys and girls.
You're those. They could be like 10 games back, like in September, and you'd be like, "Oh, they're gonna make the playoffs." I can feel it. I can feel it. All right, everybody. So that is our show for this week. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us next week as we talk about the road trip, and we'll be giving updates about the Rockies series. Before we do close out, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just again, we're so thankful. I say it every week, and I mean it every week. Our numbers go up every week, I believe, and it's just so much fun when everybody gets on here and comments with us. It just really gets it going. And we just love it so much. So continue to reach out. And Justin mentioned in our, I'll let you read this comment. I was going to say something.
Oh yeah, Clark just says, "Awesome as always, fellas," and we appreciate that,
Yes,
Clark. Appreciate all of you coming in. It is really fun to do a live show about the team we love with you guys. So thanks for coming.
Justin mentioned in the little bonus episode this week, we tell us what you want us to do. If there's things that you don't like or things that you think you might like, shoot us some suggestions.
I was like, I don't know what you're
to hear
here.
feedback. Yeah, we love to hear feedback. So just keep it up. We love it.
Yeah. If there's anything you would like, if you think we should be adding a different segment or taking one away, let us know, because this is a show for all of us. So definitely let us know any suggestions that you may or may not have. Comments. Drew says, "Great show, guys. Always looking forward to the chat and content." Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, sir.
Noticed Elijah didn't say anything nice.
Wow.
Anyway, so join us next week. Be sure to subscribe. Leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Follow us on social media. Share us with your friends. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thanks.
See ya.